Okay, I'm pretty sure most people who are familiar with catgirls and catboys have at one point or another wondered what it would be like to be a catgirl or a catboy, most likely associating it with being cute and getting anything their little heart desires because they're such a cute little bean. I understand the appeal. However, when you look at what the life of a catgirl or catboy would entail and look at it through a scientific lens, the life of a catgirl or catboy seems less desirable, one may argue. Either way, I'm not one to judge. However, I can very well try and make you see my point of view through science. So let's get started. First, the most obvious, though often overlooked, inconvenience for catgirls or catboys lies within their extra anatomical structures as a result of their feline counterparts. In other words, their nekomimi, or their cat ears, and sometimes a tail. Let's start off by analyzing the ears. The ears are cat ears, but much bigger. And that's very important to know because the sheer size of an ear determines just exactly how well someone is able to hear. A lot of it is due to the fact that an ear acts like a funnel when it comes to sound. So any sound that goes into the ear, specifically the outer ear, goes through a funnel-like structure, also known as the ear canal, until it eventually reaches the eardrum at a much amplified state. One can only assume that by having a bigger ear, that funnel is going to therefore amplify the sound even more than a small ear. Fun fact about cat ears also is that they're actually more potent than human and dog ears. So, we can only assume through this information that it would be a pain to have cat ears as a catgirl or a catboy. Quite literally, everything would just be resonating with intense amount of amplified sound that it could be overwhelming. Like seriously, if you think the world is loud as it is now, then being a catgirl or a catboy is only going to further amplify that sentiment. And when it comes to the tail, let's be real here. A normal cat tail is prone to knock things over, let alone a tail that is literally more than half the size of a catgirl or a catboy. Moving on to the next reason of why it would suck to be a catgirl or a catboy lies in the fact that catgirls and catboys, for the most part, are very clueless. And that's largely due to their free-spirited nature due to their cat side. As a result of this, though, they are often reliant and dependent on someone to look after them, often called master or nyaster at times, depending on who you ask, which they're completely fine with. Being the free spirits that they are, they have very little understanding of how the world works. And this is largely due to their cat nature, more so their house cat nature. Like a normal house cat, a catgirl or a catboy that is domesticated, which usually consists of most of them, they are docile, dependent, and as stated previously, clueless. This may sound great, but there are certain problems that could arise from this. One of them being the fact that because they are so absent-minded of how the world works, if let's just say their master or nyaster happens to need a little bit of help, say financially, they will have a lot of difficulty actually giving that help due to their very short attention spans and overall dependence and cluelessness, though it is possible. However, it is usually insanely difficult for a catgirl to actually be able to do something that requires focus and alertness like work because of these things. And when they do, it's usually not even for very long periods of time. If I recall, the most a catgirl usually tends to work is like around 3 days out of the week and around 3 to 4 hours at most. However way you look at it, this behavior will result in problems. In the future, one may argue, even if you are not a domesticated catgirl or catboy, which, fun fact, they do exist, much like a domesticated catgirl / catboy, street catgirl or catboy tend to have traits of a street cat in that they're more stealthy, cautious, and alert. But even then, they don't have a good life, mainly because society looks down on them and often tends to treat them rather unfairly, or at least one may argue poorly. I don't think I have to say that a couple people might not like this lifestyle. Moving on to the next inconvenience catgirls and catboys have to deal with: weakness. Catgirls and catboys are known for being weak, extremely weak. Some may say even pathetically weak. That's not to say that big, strong, hulking, beefy catgirls and catboys don't exist, but you have to look at it from this perspective. When was the last time that you actually saw a hulking cat walk by you? Catgirls and catboys are weak and are string beans. That's how most cats typically tend to be, and those traits have crossed over into the catgirl and catboy genes. A lot of the problems you might notice when it comes to catgirls and catboys come from their genes that they have inherited from their actual cat counterparts. With that, I hope I have given you some insight into why it would suck to be a catgirl or a catboy. And with that, if you like this video, subscribe, like, share this with your neighbor, share this with your wife, share this with your high school teacher, and I'll be back to answer another question that Not Even Scientists can answer. Bye.